Usually when I make videos, I tell you guys that what I'm about to cover is an insanely wild story, and while that does hold true most of the time, that is especially the case with today's video. This video is going to go in all types of directions you couldn't even predict, twists and turns around every corner that make this story get crazier and crazier. So on that topic, how many of you have heard about the YouTuber Black Gryphon? For those of you unaware, Black Gryphon, aka Gabriel Brown, got his start in the My Little Pony community before eventually switching over to music and voice acting type content. He's a pretty popular content creator with over 5 million subscribers and a very good view count for someone who's been on the platform as long as he has. But not everything is sunshine and rainbows, as Black Gryphon has come into some large controversy in recent times. So much so that it is resulting in actual cease and desist letters being sent out, creators' reputations being eviscerated, and people cutting off entire family members. Before I get into anything though, I do need to say that nothing I'm talking about is set in stone, and as of this very moment, all of these are allegations. I am not making any definitive claims about Black Gryphon. This video is just to report on the existing allegations that have been brought forth. So to start this off, we need to go back to 2014. Gabe was a young man at around 20 years old. Back when the brony fandom still existed and was full of people. Gabe was one of those people, and he seemed to be pretty popular during that time, with some of his My Little Pony covers of popular songs getting over millions of views. He slowly worked his time in the brony community, networking with a fair few creators, and while not every single person he networked with was relevant, there are 3 creators in particular we need to keep in mind going forward. These creators being Claire Corlett and Michelle Kreber, 2 girls who voice acted for My Little Pony. The other creator of note being Saber Spark, a content creator who, like Gabe, had started off making brony content before eventually switching over to the content he is known for today. Now, around the time Gabe was interacting with Claire and Michelle, both of them voiced minor characters in My Little Pony. It's also important to note that both Claire and Michelle were only around the ages of 14 at the time. You may ask why I'm bringing these 2 up, and the reason behind that is because Gabe, despite meeting these 13 to 15-year-olds when he was at least 20, would later go on to marry Claire in November of 2022. One of the first documented instances we have of these 2 interacting is a video uploaded by Claire called the Whisper Challenge. This video is apparently the first time they met up IRL, and while people didn't say anything at the time, looking back this appeared to be the beginning of something that would spiral out of control. There are then a lot of documented instances of Gabe continuing to hang around these underage women, from Instagram posts together to multiple other videos together, both in con spaces and not in con spaces. A common defense used by people online is that these 2 only ever really talked when Claire had turned 18, despite there being multiple examples of them hanging out constantly. Even if that had been the case though, it would still be really weird. He met this girl when she was between the ages of 13 to 15, and he was at the very least 20. Even if he had waited for her to turn 18, that's creepy as fuck. But when doing my own research, I happened to find one of the most damning pieces of evidence against Gabe. In a old video of his titled Halo 5 Collector's Edition Unboxing, a video that is currently still up on Gabriel's channel, he films with Michelle while she's at the most 16, by the way. You'll notice all the comments are the usual positive feedback, but one comment in particular caught my eye. A user asked if the 2 of them were friends or if they were dating, to which another commenter pointed out that she's only 16 while he's 25. The rest of the comments then go on to say things like, age difference doesn't matter and give them a few years, you will see. Now in most other instances, this wouldn't be all that much, it just seems like some loser commenters saying some really creepy shit. That is before Gabe himself weighs in on the conversation. I think it's super rude to ship real people, especially when they're 9 years apart. Gabe met Michelle when she was 9. They have somewhat of a brother-sister relationship, I'm sure, but I'm pretty positive they will never be more than that to each other. I met her when she was 13 actually, and my parents are 10 years apart. I'm not implying anything by that. I'm just saying it's not bad to suggest that could happen between 2 people who are 9 years apart. That's right. Gabe is saying there's nothing bad if the minor he knew since she was 13 turned legal and he got into a relationship with her. That wasn't bad enough, he continues to go on to shoot himself in the foot later as well. I have no issue with it. My thing is, as long as both parties are old enough and both agree there's nothing wrong with it, love is what matters. Being loyal if you both are happy and follow the laws. I agree with you. The only thing I was arguing about is that people were saying it wasn't legal, which is not true. Legal age in Canada is 16. If that isn't the most disgusting thing ever, then I don't know what is. Now back to modern day, when Gabe and Claire got into a relationship, a lot of people found this, disgusting. And one person who appears to be the most disgusted by this is Claire's own father, Ian Corlett. To give a little background on Claire's father, Ian, he's also a voice actor just like his daughter. Some of his most prominent roles being Mega Man, Master Roshi and Goku for a little bit, and he's also the current voice of Mr. Fantastic in Marvel Rivals. From posts online, Claire's parents were very much against this relationship for obvious reasons. It appears as though Claire's dad made a post on his Instagram about it, but it looks as though it's been deleted. I tried searching and could not find it for the life of me. However, one thing that did get documented from the Instagram post was a response to it by Saber Spark that said, "You're a miserable human, Ian, and I'm so glad she has escaped the clutches of your despair, unwarranted pride and self-loathing. Here's to the happy future she can forge without you." This would not be the last time Saber would defend Gabe either, by the way. So, the family started having resentment towards each other over this, and it culminated with Claire not inviting her parents to her wedding. She made a whole post about it on Twitter saying things such as, "A wedding should be a place where unconditional love is shown. I did not invite people who don't support our relationship. If anybody is thinking to themselves that this was an easy decision for me, or that I am happy my parents were at my wedding, even though yes, I did not invite them, you are grossly mistaken." Also, as you'll probably notice, once again, Saber Spark is in the comments making fun of Claire's father for not being happy his daughter ended up marrying the grown man she met when she was 13 to 15. And just to get it all out of the way, here's the last post I could find from Saber about this whole situation. "I rarely get involved in these things, but if my reputation is worth anything at all, then I'll use it to say the following. It was all on the level. You're right. Claire had a crush on Gabe, but Gabe never reciprocated until she was around 20 or so. It's weird, but it was legal." So yeah, Saber is full on board with whatever the fuck Gabe is doing, even though the rest of his audience does not agree with him to any regard. Now, another creator defending Gabe is actually the creator of the indie game Billy Bust Up, a game in which Gabe voice acts. The creator of the game said that not only did they look into this and find no evidence Gabe was weird towards any children, but that they were supplied with additional info to prove his innocence. If that exists, I would love to see it. They also say that this is a targeted harassment campaign from an abuser. What they are implying is, of course, Claire's father, Ian. This is something a lot of these people claim, yet never provide any evidence of. You would think if this is like such a thing that all these people know about, there would be some type of paper trail or anything. We actually have Katie straight up lying about Gabe to make him look better. He met her once to record a video, and then they didn't speak for many, many years, despite multiple posts proving this wrong. If they have all this evidence that proves Gabe is innocent, though, I feel like it would be in the public's best interest to provide some of it and snuff these false accusations out entirely. Despite claiming to have evidence, though, that completely clears Gabe, rather than provide that, they are now sending cease and desist letters to people who talk mean about them. A Twitter account that's been posting a whole bunch about Gabe received a cease and desist letter. My personal opinion, sending a cease and desist letter is just like 2 steps away from actually admitting guilt, but that's just in my own personal experience. And to add on to this, we actually have 2 more allegations to address as well. One was made by an anonymous Twitter user, but since they provide no evidence and the account is hidden, I can't do much with anything they say. The other accusation is something I can cover. Someone appears to have used the Wayback Machine on Gabe's DeviantArt account and obtained some wild messages. Messages in which a 20-year-old Gabe speaks wildly inappropriately with a 14-year-old. The minor even says that they have school starting up and still Gabe refers to them as babe and baby. Now, as stated before, these are all allegations, and if anything, I hope to God these aren't true, because if they are, then this is revolting. I don't want this guy to be a bad person, but like, if he isn't, then he's really got to actually start fighting these allegations. Everything he said so far seems to just not be true in any regard. It also appears as though these allegations are blowing up more and more with each passing day, so I don't think Gabe can just shrug them off. This time he might actually have to fight them. With that, though, that's essentially all I have to cover, so that's going to be the end of the video. I don't know, join the Discord, follow me on Twitter, and subscribe, I guess. It'd be pretty cool. Anyway, I don't know. Later.